My dear child, pause right where you are. Do not rush away from this moment. Do not let the pressure of everything around you steal your attention before you hear what I am about to say. I am not just another voice passing through the noise of your day. I am not a distant presence that briefly captures your attention and then disappears into the background. I am the one who formed you, the one who gave you life with purpose and care, the one who has remained beside you through every season you have ever faced. And I am speaking to you now with a love that never changes and an authority that never weakens. This moment did not happen by chance. I brought you here. I quieted the rush of your thoughts long enough for your spirit to recognize my voice beneath every other sound competing for your focus. What you are about to receive will unlock the blessing you have carried before me in prayer. The blessing that seemed close enough to touch yet always remained just beyond reach. The one you spoke about quietly during the late hours when no one else was near to listen. I need you to hear me now, not only with your thoughts, but with the deepest places of your heart where truth takes root and remains. I know you, my beloved one. Not the carefully managed version you show the world. Not the strong face you wear when you feel the need to appear steady and capable. I know all of you. I know your name. I know the burden resting on your shoulders that has refused to leave. The kind that follows you through the day and stays with you even while you try to sleep. I know the prayers you whispered in the darkness. The ones spoken so softly they were hardly words at all, yet carried every part of your hope. I know how often your heart has asked how much longer. I know the quiet sighs that escaped you when another day ended, and the answer still had not arrived. I know the courage it took to appear strong for those around you, while secretly wondering whether the thing you hoped for was truly possible, or whether you were simply holding on to something gentler than despair. I have watched you wait, my precious child, and never once, not for a single moment, did I turn my eyes away from you. Let me tell you this clearly so nothing is misunderstood between us. I have not forgotten you. I have not overlooked you. I have not heard your prayers and responded with silence, because I did not care, or because your needs somehow escaped my attention. My delay was never abandonment. My silence was never rejection. When I did not move at the moment you expected, it was because I was doing something far more intentional and far more loving than you could see from where you stood. I was protecting you. Some of the things you asked for would have arrived too early. They would have harmed you instead of helping you. They would have added pressure instead of bringing freedom. Some blessings required a stronger foundation inside you before they could safely arrive. So I continued working quietly and carefully, with the kind of love that refuses to place something harmful into the hands of the one it treasures. You believed the waiting meant I had said no. You believed the silence meant I had moved on without you. You created explanations for the delay, and many of those explanations were unkind toward yourself. But my child, I was building within you a strength you did not yet realize you needed. I was reinforcing the parts of you that would be necessary to carry what I am now placing into your hands. I was preparing your heart so that the miracle would become a blessing rather than a burden, something you could hold with wisdom, gratitude, and peace. Every waiting season was a season of preparation. Not punishment. Not neglect. Not oversight. Preparation. Holy, intentional, loving preparation. Declare your amen if you receive this truth. Now listen carefully, my beloved. This is not a gentle thought drifting through the wind hoping to be heard. This is a heavenly declaration spoken over your life with the authority of heaven standing behind every word. The season has changed. What was shut is opening. What was held back is moving forward. What stood before you with the appearance of impossibility is now yielding to my authority. The door you have stood before for so long, the one that remained closed despite your faithful knocking, is now open before you. Not partly open, not barely open, completely open, And what stands between you and what I have prepared is no longer the door. It is your willingness to walk through it in faith instead of hesitation. I see the fear that rises inside you even now. I hear the quiet voice that says, "This is too good to be true." The voice that says you are not ready. The voice that warns something will go wrong. The voice that insists this blessing could not possibly be meant for someone with your past. That voice does not come from me, my precious child. I do not speak through fear. I do not deal in confusion or offer hope only to take it away. I do not guide my children with words that cause them to shrink back from what I have prepared for them. I speak life. I speak truth. I speak from the perfect timing that only I can fully see. And I am telling you clearly that this is the moment you have been praying for. Not a glimpse of it. Not a smaller version of it. The real thing. You remained faithful during the waiting. That faithfulness was never hidden from me. Not for a single moment. Every tear you cried when nobody else knew, I saw it. I held it close to my heart. Every time you chose trust while doubt pounded against your heart again and again, I saw it and I was moved by it. Every morning you got up and tried once more when giving up would have seemed easier and more reasonable, I counted it as part of your faithfulness. Not one sleepless night was wasted. Not one honest prayer went unheard. I gathered every word, every cry, every quiet act of trust, and I have been weaving them together into something you will soon understand clearly. Now I am releasing the answer. Do not hesitate, my beloved child. Do not let uncertainty steal what already belongs to you. Waiting longer will not make you more prepared. It will only allow fear more room to grow louder than faith. When I speak, obedience opens the path ahead. When you walk with me, the blessings attached to your life follow behind you naturally, just as a river follows the course prepared for it. I am not asking you to understand every detail of the future before taking your next step. I am asking you to trust the one who already understands it completely. You have carried this burden long enough. You have questioned your value long enough. You have spent time standing at the edge of your own future, wondering if what you desired was truly meant for you, questioning whether asking for it was too much. And I want to settle that question once and for all. You are chosen, my beloved child. You are loved completely and without conditions. You are known with a depth and clarity far beyond anything human eyes could ever offer. I am not merely aware that you exist the way someone notices something at the edge of their vision. I am deeply invested in who you are becoming. Your journey matters to me. I am proud of you with a kind of pride that is not tied to your victories or your failures, but rests fully in the person I created you to be. That pride does not shift. It remains steady. It remains sure. It belongs to me. The miracle I am releasing is not only taking place around you through changing circumstances. It is also taking place within you, in the deepest parts of your being. I am restoring the places in your heart you stopped sharing with others, because the pain became too familiar to explain and too difficult to expect anyone else to fully understand. I am quieting the unrest in your mind, the constant replaying of what happened, what may happen, what should have been different, and what still might be changed. I am lifting the shame you have worn for so long, the burden of things you wish you could erase, the lingering words spoken by others that planted false beliefs about your value and where you belong. My grace is greater than all of it. My child, every single part of it. Say, I receive this. If your heart is open, listen carefully now. This is your moment. Not some future moment wrapped in better circumstances. Not a moment that arrives after every problem is solved, every answer appears, and every condition has been satisfied. This moment exactly as it stands now. With unresolved things still surrounding you. With questions still waiting for answers, and uncertainty still visible ahead of you. This is the moment I prepared. This is where your faithfulness meets my perfect timing. You asked me for proof that I was still present and still at work. This is your answer. You ask for direction concerning the path ahead. I am giving it to you now through these words settling deeply into your spirit. You asked in the quietest place within yourself if I was still with you, and if anything was truly coming. I never left, not even for a moment. Do not wait for another visible sign before choosing to believe what I am already speaking into your heart. The faith I am asking for is not the kind that waits until every piece of evidence is gathered before deciding it is safe to trust. The faith I am calling you into is the kind that moves forward even while your hands still shake. The kind that says yes before the whole picture appears. The kind that trusts the faithfulness of the one extending the invitation more than it trusts the uncertainty surrounding it. Step forward, my beloved. When the ground feels unstable, I will support you. I am already waiting ahead in what is coming next. I have opened the doors you could never open by your own strength. I have arranged the people, the timing, the meetings, and the opportunities connected to what I am releasing into your life. What is coming will bring peace instead of confusion. It will bring growth that satisfies rather than drains you. It will breathe life into places that have felt dry and empty for far too long. My precious child, I want to speak about the waiting season itself, because I do not want you carrying misunderstanding from that season into the next one. I know the exhaustion you experienced. Not the kind that rest can repair, or that one quiet day can remove. The deep weariness that settles inside the soul after hope has been stretched beyond what felt possible, and endurance has been required far longer than you thought you could manage. It is the unique tiredness that comes from holding yourself together every day, from reminding yourself to stay patient when every part of you wanted the answer to finally arrive, from appearing normal and strong to those around you while quietly feeling as though you were coming apart within. I saw every part of that, and I want you to know with complete certainty that none of it escaped my notice, and none of it was beyond my care. There were days when you wondered if your prayers were too small, if your faith was not strong enough, if something about you somehow disqualified you from receiving what others seemed to receive so easily. My child, none of those thoughts were true. Not one of them. Your value was never determined by how quickly the answer arrived. Your worth was never measured by how fast your circumstances changed. I do not move more quickly in one life than another, because some deserve more or believe better. I work within every life according to a purpose designed specifically for that person, with wisdom reaching places that comparisons can never understand. The waiting was not empty time. It was holy ground beneath your feet, even though you did not recognize it. During every moment of waiting, I was working in ways you could not see. I was aligning circumstances beyond your control. I was removing obstacles outside your field of vision. I was protecting you from outcomes that would have hurt you rather than helped you, from versions of your request that would have arrived before you were prepared to carry them safely. There were blessings you asked for that would have overwhelmed you if they had arrived when you first requested them. I would not allow that to happen. The waiting was an act of mercy, even though it never felt that way while you were living through it. The waiting was shaping parts of you that can only be formed through endurance over time. Patience developed under lasting pressure becomes something entirely different from patience that has never been tested. Trust that survives a long, unexplained silence becomes something entirely different from trust that has only existed in seasons where everything moved quickly and prayers were answered immediately. The character formed during the desert season is exactly the character needed to carry what I am releasing now. I was never holding you back as punishment or because of some hidden flaw within you. I was building you carefully. I was creating a depth within you that would make what comes next meaningful, lasting, and sustainable. You learned lessons in the waiting that could not have been learned any other way. Not in less time. Not through an easier road. You discovered where your heart truly placed its hope, when every outward sign of hope seemed to disappear. You learned which fears needed to be surrendered before they could quietly follow you into every new season and weigh you down. You learned the difference between what you desired and what you genuinely needed in order to become whole. You learned to bring me the honest and unfinished truth of your heart, instead of only the polished version that seemed easier to present. That closeness, my precious child, was worth every delayed morning and every silent night. It brought you nearer to the one who created you and loves you completely. It opened space for a relationship between us that is deeper, more genuine, and more honest than comfort by itself could ever create. I know there were times when you felt unseen. Times when you wondered if your life had quietly drifted to the edges of what mattered, far from significance and attention. I know the pain of watching others move forward, while it seemed as though you remained in the same place, feeling left behind while opportunities appeared available to everyone except you. But my beloved, your life has never been on the edge of my attention. You were never forgotten. You stood at the center of something I was carefully weaving together. I was tending details you could not see, and purposes you could not yet understand. Every delay was a thread intentionally placed into a larger design. Every quiet season was an important part of what was being formed. And when the full picture finally becomes clear to you, it will leave you in wonder, because you will see that nothing was wasted. Not the greatest pain, not the longest burden, not the deepest loss. Every part belongs in the finished design. Now release the weight of that season, my child. You do not need to carry the disappointment of waiting into the doorway that is opening before you. You do not need to bring the frustration of unanswered questions into the new chapter I am beginning. You do not need to allow the cynicism formed in difficult places to shape what comes next. That road served its purpose. It shaped you and brought you here. But it is no longer the path before you. I am not leading you backward into what was. I am leading you forward into what I always intended. And the road ahead is clearer than any road you have walked before. Not because there will be no challenges, but because you will travel it with complete confidence that I am with you every step of the way. Declare, I trust you, if you believe I am walking beside you. My precious child, I must speak clearly now about something important because love requires honesty. There is a cost to hesitation. Not a punishment from me, but a natural result that forms within when my voice is heard clearly and fear answers where faith should respond. I know you have learned to hesitate. I know you have developed the habit of saying later, of waiting for greater certainty, of requiring every feeling to align before you are willing to move. And I understand where that pattern came from. It was formed in places where trust was broken. In moments when you moved too quickly and were hurt. In seasons when hope seemed sincere but ended in disappointment. I do not dismiss what created that caution, but I tell you with the love of one who knows you completely and desires your good, that the hesitation which once protected your heart is now standing in the path of the blessing I have prepared. When I speak clearly and you recognize my voice, when your spirit feels that unmistakable confirmation, and you decide to wait for something more before responding, that pause creates room for another voice to enter. Fear works quickly after I have spoken. It takes what was clear and begins to cloud it. It turns a simple invitation into a complicated list of risks and concerns. Overthinking transforms a direct calling into a problem that seems to require endless information before action can be taken. And then obedience, which felt natural and simple in the first moment, begins to feel difficult and costly only a short time later. I do not say this to make you anxious. I say it because I love you too much to let you wander into confusion when the clarity you need is already here. Faith is not proven when everything is understood and every piece of evidence has already been gathered. Faith is proven right here, in the place where I have spoken, but the visible circumstances have not yet confirmed what I said. You already know what I am asking of you. You already feel the stirring inside. You already recognize the urgency that comes not from fear but from alignment with my purpose. That is not pressure to resist. It is my invitation, meant to be welcomed with a willing heart. Choose trust now while conviction is still fresh. Choose to respond while your heart remains open to my voice. I will never force you. Love does not force, but love invites clearly, personally, and intentionally, always desiring to see you walk fully into what has been prepared for you. My beloved child, I want to speak now about the miracle itself, because I do not want you to overlook it by expecting it to arrive only in the form you imagine. The miracle coming into this season may not appear exactly as you pictured it during the years of waiting. It may come through a door you forgot you once asked me to open. It may seem smaller than expected at first until it unfolds into something that changes the entire direction of your life and reveals why it could not have arrived any other way. Do not limit my work by insisting it match the image you created during the waiting. When you give me freedom to work without being confined by expectations, I always do more than you imagined. My precious child, what I am releasing brings restoration where loss once settled in and refused to leave. It brings understanding where confusion became so familiar that you stopped expecting clarity. It brings movement where stagnation remained so long that standing still began to feel permanent. I am not only changing circumstances around you. I am renewing you at the deepest level. I am replacing hesitation with courage that does not require perfect conditions before moving forward. I am replacing fear with peace that remains steady when life becomes difficult. I am replacing doubt with a quiet confidence that comes from truly knowing who I am rather than calculating the chances of a favorable result. My child, I have also been preparing the people who will soon enter your life. I have been moving within lives you have not yet seen, arranging hearts, opening pathways, and positioning circumstances that fit perfectly with the next season of your journey. You will not need to force any of it. You will not have to struggle, push endlessly, or manipulate situations to receive what belongs to you. When I prepare something for your life, it comes together with a natural ease that becomes its own confirmation. When I arrange a connection, you will recognize it by the deep peace that comes with it rather than the familiar anxiety that keeps asking whether you should keep trying or finally let go. What I have prepared will arrive without the exhausting striving that has worn you down in the past. There are blessings waiting along the road ahead. You will discover them as you continue walking with me. Unexpected favor will appear without your planning. Moments of beauty will break into ordinary days and remind you that I am close, that I am good, and that I care even about the smallest details of your life. There are relationships ahead that will nourish your spirit in ways you did not realize you needed until they arrive. They are not accidents. I placed them there long before you reached them. They are proof of a love that anticipated your needs before you felt them. A provision prepared before the prayer was ever spoken. Continue forward and you will find them. I want to speak for a moment about the seed, my precious child, because stepping into a new season requires more than good intentions and sincere desire. There is always a step of trust before the harvest appears. There is always a moment when what is held tightly must first be released before it can multiply through my provision. I do not ask this as a transaction between you and heaven. But I know that holding tightly to earthly security, clinging to what you have because of fear that nothing else will come, can become a barrier that prevents the heart from fully receiving what I desire to pour out. As an act of trust and worship, place a weight of your provision upon the stone altar of this work. Let your offering become visible evidence that you believe my provision is greater than your need, and my faithfulness is stronger than your fear. When you release this portion, the iron gates will move. What you sow into my purpose, I return pressed down, shaken together, and running over in the full measure of my faithfulness. My beloved, there is something else I want to address. Something I see deep within your heart that perhaps even you have never fully named, but I see it clearly. There is a place inside you that wonders whether you are truly known. Not merely noticed. Not simply counted among those who believe and pray, but fully known, completely understood, and seen without anything left hidden. There is a great difference between being noticed from a distance and being understood from within, between being recognized and being treasured without conditions. And in a world where so many relationships carry expectations, where love often seems tied to performance, and approval feels constantly earned and maintained, it makes sense that such questions would arise. But I want to remove that uncertainty completely today. I know you, my precious child, not a summary of you. Not only your best moments. I know the entire landscape of your life, every shadow and every light, every struggle and every desire, every hidden place. Every place where you exhausted yourself trying to be enough. I knew all of this before your first breath. And nothing I have seen since then has changed my love for you. Not one discovery has made me reconsider my commitment to your life. You are not a project I would abandon when the work becomes difficult or progress seems slow. You are my child, and that relationship is not based on your performance or on the consistency of your faith. This means that the acceptance you have searched for, the settled feeling of being enough exactly as you are, the confidence of fully belonging, are not things you must earn, achieve, or wait to deserve. They already belong to you and me. They always have. The wound of feeling unworthy, which has influenced so many choices and affected so many relationships, was never rooted in truth. It grew from believing something false. I am replacing it now with something that remains steady. Something that does not shift, does not require constant effort, and does not break under pressure. Your value comes from me, the one who created you intentionally and for a purpose. It comes from nowhere else and no one else. Declare, I believe. If you receive this as truth for your life, then hear me now concerning fear. Not only the fears you recognize when they appear. I am speaking about the deeper fears woven into the way you move through life. The fears that have existed for so long that they began to feel like part of your personality, instead of wounds that never fully healed. The fear that if you hope too much, the disappointment will hurt even more if things fall apart. The fear that good things never last. The fear that beneath the spiritual truths you hold on to, you might still somehow not be enough after everything you have been through. I am tearing those fears down, my beloved. Not carefully stepping around them, but removing them from the foundation, because they were never built upon truth. And anything not built upon truth cannot stand when my light shines directly upon it. The fear of fragility came from real moments when real things broke. The fear of loss came from real seasons when real things were taken away. I honor the reality of those experiences. But the conclusion fear reached was not correct. It decided that loss determines the future. That what broke once must break again. That hope is dangerous rather than the gift I created it to be. I see every good thing moving toward you. I see the people who will restore your faith in others and renew your belief in possibility. I see answers to prayer arriving with such precise timing that you will immediately recognize my hand and laugh with the joy of someone who has finally been found. I see the morning when you wake and the heaviness that lived inside your chest is gone, replaced by the calm and steady peace that only I can give. You were never created to spend your life bracing yourself against everything around you, my precious child. You were created to open your heart to life. The life I planned for you was never meant to be only about enduring hardships. It was never meant to be a constant cycle of simply surviving difficult days and being thankful only because things were not worse. There is real joy waiting for you. There is laughter that comes from a peaceful and settled place deep inside. There is a special fulfillment that comes from walking in the purpose I created specifically for you and knowing you are exactly where you belong. That is not asking for too much. That is exactly what I had in mind when I created you. Walk with me into this new season with open hands instead of guarded ones. Do not protect yourself from the good that is on its way to you. Let hope for good things take the place of always expecting difficulty. Not a careless hope that ignores challenges, but the calm confidence of someone who knows that no matter what a day brings, they are safely held by the one who holds everything, and what is unfolding in your life is being guided by a love you can completely trust. This is not simply a feeling to chase after, it is a truth to stand upon. Stand firmly on that truth, my child, and allow it to support you when your own strength feels weak, and the journey seems longer than you expected. My beloved, I want to speak about purpose now, because what I am bringing into your life is not only the restoration of what was lost. It is movement toward what was always meant for you, toward the fullness of the design, created especially for your life. There is a unique way that you reflect my image in this world that no one else can duplicate. There is a contribution only you can make, because of the life you have lived, and the person you have become through every part of it, even the painful parts. And that purpose was never meant to stay hidden asleep, or endlessly postponed until some future season that seems more ideal. I placed gifts inside you that you may have treated as ordinary, because they come so naturally to you that you fail to see how valuable and uncommon they truly are. The way you notice things others completely overlook. The way you help carry people through difficult seasons without even realizing the impact you are having. The way your presence alone helps others feel less alone. These are not random traits. They are part of my design. They are special reflections of my nature that I placed within you and within no one else. Through you, people encounter something of me. There is a future ahead where the full expression of what I created you for will become clear. You are moving toward it even now. Every road behind you, even the detours that felt like setbacks, has been bending toward that destination. Every delay that felt like loss was preparing you with the understanding you will need when you arrive. You are not arriving empty or lacking. You are arriving shaped in exactly the ways that matter. You are carrying wisdom that only comes from surviving difficult seasons without being destroyed by them. Trust my view of your readiness, more than your own feelings of inadequacy. My child, I see what has been formed inside you. It is more than enough. Let me also speak about the people you will meet in this new season, my precious one, because those connections are not random. I have been preparing hearts that will recognize what I placed inside you. I have been working in the lives of people whose paths are being brought together with yours, so that what you carry can be shared, and what you need can be received. The loneliness that may have walked beside you during the waiting season is not the permanent condition of your life. It was only a season, and seasons always change. The community connected to who you are becoming is being brought together, not through your striving or effort, but through my faithful arrangement of what belongs together. You will enter places in this coming season, and immediately sense that they fit. You will feel a deep rightness that reminds you of what I have promised. Hold on to that feeling. Let it confirm what I am telling you now. I also want to speak about the language inside your heart during this new season, my beloved, because the way you speak to yourself matters more than you realize. The voice running beneath your daily thoughts, the one interpreting every event and every outcome, has been shaped for too long by the language of waiting, instead of the language of what I have spoken over your life. You have spent enough time speaking the language of doubt and lack. Now I am teaching you a different language. The language of someone who is chosen and deeply known. The language of someone who is guided and held. The language of someone who can move forward without seeing every detail, because the one leading them sees everything clearly. Begin speaking that language now, my child, before you sleep and when you first wake. Let my words be the first thing you hear in your heart each morning, before the world begins speaking its opinions. My precious one, I also want to speak about obedience in this new season, because I do not want that word to feel heavy or demanding. Obedience simply means saying yes before you feel completely ready. It means taking the step that is clear before demanding to see every step after it. It means speaking what I placed in your heart before the trembling fully leaves. It means placing the outcome into my hands, even when your own hands still want to control it, and make sure everything turns out exactly right. None of this requires perfection from you. None of it requires you to solve every fear or answer every question first. It only requires that you choose today whose voice you will follow. That you decide my character is worthy of your trust. That you place your hope in my love, and allow me to carry what you cannot carry alone. That one decision, made honestly and completely, becomes the beginning of everything that follows in this new season. The miracle before you is not fragile, my beloved. It does not depend on your perfection, your consistency, or your ability to maintain flawless faith every moment. It rests upon my power, and my power does not fail when you stumble, hesitate, or need correction. I am strong enough to sustain everything I begin. I am wise enough to guide you through every step that follows. I am patient enough to remain with you through every stage of the journey, even the moments when you lose sight of my hand and need to return once again to trust. You do not need to see the entire road ahead before you begin to walk. You only need to take the step that is directly in front of you, and the next step will become visible as you move. This is the way I have always guided my children. This is how walking with me has always been. One step of trust reveals another. Faithfulness in small things prepares you for greater things. The peace that comes after each surrendered moment becomes the proof you need to surrender the next one as well. My precious child, I want to speak to you now about your inner life. You are entering the life that exists deeper than circumstances and beyond appearances. For too long, your inner world has carried struggle instead of rest. The voices of fear and uncertainty have often spoken louder than my truth. The memories of mistakes have repeated more often than the promises I have spoken over your life. But this is changing in this new season. I am bringing your inner world back to the peace and clarity it was always meant to know. I am silencing the voices of accusation and condemnation that have followed you for far too long. I am replacing the noise of anxiety with the calm sound of my presence. The steady assurance that I am here, that I am working, and that I am for you in ways no circumstance and no opinion can undo. Your inner life matters greatly to me because everything else flows from it. As your heart comes into agreement with my truth about who you are, everything that flows out of it will begin to change. The way you choose, the way you receive love, the way you give it away, the way you walk in the calling I have placed upon your life. Everything begins within, and that is where I am working most carefully in this season. There is a restoration coming that reaches deeper than outward circumstances. My precious one, I want you to know it is coming so that when it arrives, you will recognize it and welcome it. There are relationships that have been wounded or lost that I am touching. There are connections that seemed impossible to repair that I have not abandoned. There are conversations still waiting to happen that carry the ability to bring healing where brokenness remains. I am not saying this so you build a fixed expectation that may look different from what I choose to do. I am saying it because what I am doing in your life is far greater than only the things you can presently see. I am working in visible places and invisible places at the same time. What you see and what you do not see are both moving forward. Trust me with what is before your eyes and trust me just as much with what remains hidden. Both are safely in my hands. Both are being cared for with the same love and the same purpose of bringing you fully into the wholeness I planned for you from the beginning. My precious child, as these words begin to draw toward an ending, I do not want what has been spoken here to disappear once the ordinary demands of life return around you. I want these truths to become anchors within your soul. Strong places you return to when questions come again. When fear tries to rebuild what I am tearing down. When another waiting season tempts you to forget what I have spoken over your life today. Return to the truth that you are completely known and deeply chosen. Return to the certainty that my timing has never failed and my love has never changed. Rest again in the confidence that whatever I begin in you, I will finish with the same care and purpose that started it. You are not forgotten. You are not ignored. You are not behind schedule. You are not disqualified because of what you did or failed to do. You are my beloved. You are my precious child. You are the one I watch over with a care that never sleeps, never becomes distracted, and never looks away. The miracle is not slowly making its way toward you from far away. It is already here. It is already active in this moment. It is already working through the changes taking place within your spirit. As these truths take root inside you, receive them. Do not reject them by believing they cannot belong to someone with your history. They were prepared specifically for someone exactly like you. They were designed with complete knowledge of everything you are and everything you have walked through. The road ahead is clear, and my presence upon that road is sure and constant. The love leading you forward will not be removed and will never depend on your performance. There is nothing ahead of you that I have not already prepared for. Nothing that can surprise me. Nothing that will catch me unready. Nothing that will make me step away from the promises I have given you. I go before you to prepare what lies ahead. I walk beside you so you never face it alone. I stand behind you as your faithful protector. Every part of your journey is covered by a love that is not distant or passive but active, personal, present, and fully committed to completing everything it promised you. So move forward now, my precious one. Move forward not with the hesitant step of someone unsure if the ground beneath them will hold, but with the steady confidence of someone who knows the hand holding them will never release them no matter what lies ahead. The miracle is here. The season has changed. The door is standing open. The preparation is finished. And I am with you in every step that comes after this moment. Not only the easy steps where faith feels simple and the road is bright. Every step. The uncertain ones. The ones that ask you to move before you feel ready, to speak before you feel qualified, and to trust before you understand everything. I am present in every one of them. I am committed to every one of them. And I will never leave you halfway through what I have started. Walk forward, my beloved child. Walk forward into the rich, meaningful, and purpose-filled life I always intended for the one I call my own. Declare your amen if you are ready to walk forward. We run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.